Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Where Wendy Travels, Where Wendy Creates. Today we are in JoAnn Fabrics and Crafts, and all of their stores are closing. All of their stores are on clearance, but there's some things that you need to know. If you take a look at JoAnn Fabrics on the app, it says now take up to 50% off store-wide, new discounts, new merchandise arriving daily. And you will see when you walk around the store that there are signs everywhere saying new merchandise arriving regularly. So we are strolling through here, and I'm not finding 50% off on my fabric. We now have a 2-yard minimum cut on all fabric bolts. So it is a minimum 2 yards, and we're still looking at 20% off. Now, the Last Chance Fabrics is a 60% off. Some fabrics are up to 40% off. But again, the quilters cottons that I'm looking at are all up to 20% off, 2-yard minimum cut, all fabric, 2-yard minimum cut. Some of the non-quilters fabric is up to 40% off. And for my friends we are yarn addicts, the yarn is still, same as it was last week, 25% off. So with being up to 50% off, I'm not really seeing a lot of difference now between last week. A couple more empty spaces, which people are purchasing at these prices. And I really think it's a lot of us coming into the store. We may live far away and don't get the chance to come in and don't want to miss out on something we need anyway. And it's also people buying for sewers and thinking I'm sorry, I'm trying to focus in on the price. We're looking at on the cutting boards, because I do want to pay, we all need to replace our cutting board every couple of years, and looking at the wobbles, the woobles, the yarn critters, they're still 25% off. Same as last week, and all yarn is 25% off. Now there are different quilting supplies up to 40% off, like all the threads. All of the threads are up to 40% off, and I am shocked to see that most of the thread is gone. It is sold out. But kind of surprised at that. But again, people are picking up what they can afford and taking advantage of the discounts. Now, the signs on the front of the store says up to 80% off. My friends, the 80% off is on Halloween and Christmas. Halloween and Christmas is 80% off, plus take an extra 25% off. If you were in this store last week, you saw the same signs. I'm a little bit confused one week over the next. I'm seeing very few differences in the prices. But my friends, JoAnn Fabrics is not owned by JoAnn Fabrics anymore. Don't be mad at JoAnn Fabrics. JoAnn Fabrics is kaput. They are bankrupt. They are completely gone. These stores are now being liquidated by a different company. They're owned by a liquidator. So JoAnn's no longer exist. We're walking into a store owned by a liquidator for the purpose of liquidating, and maybe by their contract they have to stay open for a certain amount of time. All indication that I can get is still that they will be open in or through May of this year. So with that being a fact, they're going really slow on these clearance. And big business, when they put a clearance up, they know people come because of the word. You and I are crafters. We know what we normally pay. We know what's a good price. We know what's not a good price. But obviously, people are buying. Look at these empty shelves. They're buying at 20% off. We love coupons. We miss coupons. And if you've, please hit that subscribe button. I have other videos. I've recently walked through Hobby Lobby. I've walked through Michael's. Very, very impressed, trying to show you the difference between prices here and prices there. So if you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. And I've also had a lot of people complaining about the prices, telling me prices are better, telling me quality is better, telling me that they wouldn't buy here, they would buy there because of quality. Well, you and I know we love mom and pop quilt shops. And quality matters when you are a long arm quilter. Quality matters when you are a garment maker. We are all loving our quality and wanting our quality, but we also need an outlet and a place to buy. We need to touch, feel, see these fabrics. So if I had a quilt store that offered me the same, I'd be there. We'd all be there. But there's a lot of us crafters, there's a lot of us quilters working on a budget, working on smaller projects, and the average person who buys fabric does not buy it in yards. You and I know if we make quilts, we make clothes, it takes yardage. But statistically stating, the amount of people who buy, look at these signs. I'm really taken aback because I really expected better clearance prices already. But people on average do not buy yards of fabric. And JoAnn Fabrics now is 2 yards of fabric minimum. We're still looking at a lot of craft supplies here that break our hearts. But it's not JoAnn's. JoAnn's is not running this clearance. The liquidation company is. And they know statistic through the numbers, through history. People come in for the name clearance. So they know the store is going out of business. So it's a pull for a lot of people who don't normally craft on a day-to-day basis. And here's what I told you about the 80% off plus 25% off, an additional 25% off. Now these boxes, I think they pulled these out of the back because these weren't here before. The 10s were, but I've been in 2 different JoAnn Fabrics. One had a lot of beautiful Christmas pieces still on great sale. Now these candles, they're going to bite you when you get to the cash register because candles are sold, I'm told, as candles, not under the 80% plus an additional 25% off. So don't get fooled on your candles. That was a surprise for me. But they do have lots of great things to pick through and look through. And they do say that they're bringing out more on a daily basis. So keep your eyes peeled. And if it's convenient to go to JoAnn Fabrics, definitely do. If it's a long drive for you, it could be a little bit depressing because I'm really not seeing much changes this week over last week. So I'm a little bit let down by that. So you know what you normally pay. You know what you want. And if there's something that you need anyway, yes, go ahead and take advantage of it. But I just wanted to give you an update today, show you what I'm seeing, show you what prices I'm finding. And I could just gobble these garlands up. But if they're not Christmas, they're still only 30% off, 40% off of most other floral stuff now. So don't be heartbroken when you see up to 80% off on the store signs, and yet you go through the aisles and what you really, really want, what you really, really need is only 20% off with limitations. So again, would I go to JoAnn Fabrics? Yes. Am I going to miss them desperately? Am I heartbroken? Yes, we all are. And my friends, when you talk about quality and you're leaving comments, please keep leaving comments. We need to see those comments. We need to share where's the best place to buy. Talk to you real soon, my friends. Have a great day.